Eastbound Foothill Boulevard from Michelinda. Looks like he's doubling back. Southbound on Rosemead. Southbound Rosemead going underneath the freeway. I wonder if he's going to pop out the other side. Oh, he's getting back on westbound. He's getting back on the westbound 210. Tim. You don't have him out there? Okay, okay. Hey guys, sorry about all the tenseness. Everybody's talking at me today. We're in a backup helicopter. Radios are a little scratchy. And, you know, everybody expects me to be here when it happens. Anyways, we are here, and that's what counts, I guess, in the end. There are no units behind it. When I'm talking to you guys on the net, you know what I'm talking about. There's no black and whites. Nobody's really right behind this vehicle. They are following it, though. It's a sheriff's helicopter, and the California Highway Patrol is aware of what's going on. Older Suburban, older Tahoe, probably in about the 2000s, maybe 2002. We're just approaching Pasadena, westbound 210 freeway, coming up on San Gabriel. These are one of the ones that are kind of interesting in its own self because you got that helicopter right there, but you've got nobody behind it, no black and whites. And we got to do television, so we'll be back with you guys in a little bit. Well, that's right, and you know we just heard hearing them talk about it. Apparently, it started out as reckless driving, then it's excessive speed, and then also reckless driving. There you go. The vehicle's really starting to pick up some speed again. We're westbound 210. We've watched this car get on actually, I believe it's a Tahoe, get off the freeway, get back on the freeway. Westbound 210 freeway, high speeds, just really weird driving. That's the only thing. And you know something that we really noticed that interesting about this one is that the sheriff's ship is overhead. California Highway Patrol, they're calling it out, but we don't see any of the units from California Highway Patrol behind them, with the reds and blues and all lit up. So we also know, there they are, they're starting to come into the picture. We also know that this thing started in the Whittier area, so it's been going on for a little bit. He came up northbound on the 605. Now, higher speeds, lower speeds, that indicates that this person maybe not is with his faculties this evening. You can see something reflecting there in the passenger seat. We're wondering if maybe he's making some phone calls there, or something like that going on. The vehicle speeds up and slows down. Now we're back in that number 2 lane. Looks like he's starting to creep back over. Maybe he's going to go more and more to the right. We have seen him get off the freeway in the past. We might see him do it again. California Highway Patrol behind this car, this Tahoe, bigger vehicle, and this chase still continues. Well, when we first picked it up, it started on the 605, then we were trying to get to it, and then he got onto the 210 westbound. He got off at McMillan, and if you know that area out there, that off-ramp, kind of a long, windy deal that takes you out onto Foothill Boulevard, and that's basically what he did. He just kind of drove real slow along that off-ramp, drove up onto Foothill Boulevard, made another turn, and got back onto the westbound 210 freeway. It does appear that there's a passenger inside that vehicle with this driver this evening, still moving around, definitely established in Pasadena right now. We're going to see if we're going to continue on the 210 or work our way over to the 134, but you can see now California Highway Patrol making their presence really known on the ground. You got a couple of those units right there lighting it up, and it does appear that we're going to be taking that 210 where we go behind, like over by the Rose Bowl and out towards the La Crescenta area. Now he's starting to use some of those center lanes, getting a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more speed. That light from the helicopter, I don't even really know if he realizes it's there, but that's from the Sheriff's Department. California Highway Patrol, they're on the ground, heavy vehicle, maybe some kind of impaired driver, and we're just guessing that because of the way he's driving, reckless driving. That's the original reason why they wanted to pull this guy over. Yes, yes. Getting into La Cañada. La Cañada, Flint Ridge. Yeah, we're getting really close. We're in La Cañada. Okay. No, we're on the 210. This is La Cañada, Flint Ridge. Well, but still the same kind of driving. We're westbound on the 210, just passing Foothill. So we're getting in the La Crescenta Flint Ridge area. This vehicle just kind of just moving along. You can see that other people getting out of his way this evening. And again, we're just using that verbiage as a male. We don't know if it's a male or a female driver. California Highway Patrol still behind them there, lights and sirens. And they're actually talking about, they're basically doing that switching out thing that we learned about with California Highway Patrol. They're going from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Right now, the Altadena units, those were the ones that were behind them earlier on, have dropped out, so they're being replaced now. I'm sorry, the Baldwin Park ones are being replaced by the Altadena units. Right now, you can see this vehicle still moving along at its own clip, just kind of keeping her up to speed, just a little faster than freeway. And if you know this area, they're doing road construction out here, so the lanes are a little bit narrow. We haven't seen this guy have any trouble with that yet. Haven't seen him push his way in or out of any of the traffic, but it doesn't. We're not saying he won't if push comes to shove. Continuing on the westbound 210, we just went by the 2 right there. I just heard a number. I just want to double check that with what we're doing. Yeah, he's probably up there. I would guess that he's probably getting right about almost just touching 100 miles an hour in that big older Suburban right there. And when I say older, I'm talking about a 2000. But you got to figure that's about a 15-year-old vehicle. It's a heavy truck. They're great vehicles. Don't get me wrong. But it does appear to be a passenger inside that vehicle tonight as well. This has been going on for a little bit. Started all the way down in the Whittier area on the 605, then on to the 210, then off the 210, and then back onto the 210, and we've been on it for quite a bit. Right now, though, this car refusing to stop. California Highway Patrol in pursuit. Haven't seen that spotlight from the sheriff's unit. There it is. So the helicopter's still with us, just out our door down low, lighting this thing up. They're also making calls every now and then. If this guy gets off the freeway, then then the helicopter might start calling off some of those streets. Also, the California Highway Patrol right behind it. This is their area. This is the area that they patrol. That's one of the reasons why they do those swap outs. So they know these roads. They're not just the freeways. They know what the roads are off the freeways as well. Right now, though, this car continuing on way higher than freeway speeds. California Highway Patrol right behind it. If you drive this area, know the La Cañada Flint Ridge area, steep grade coming up. Going up, we're probably expecting to see this car slow down. Going down the hill, he might start getting a little bit faster than even he's expecting. Yeah. La Crescenta, copy all. Copy. Oh, he's opening it up. He's actually going. Copy. Thank you. Well, you know, we were expecting him to slow down going up that hill, but he really put his foot in it. He actually was gaining speed going up that hill. You can see him passing those big rigs. Now, you know those big rigs, those are professional drivers. They're going to at least hold that speed limit. Everybody else on this road, well, you know what? I've driven the 210, especially this part, and, you know, 65, it's tough to go 65. You'd always want to go a little bit faster, wider lanes, big area. But right now, this truck, this Tahoe, keeping its distance, the Sheriff's Department overhead lighting it up. California Highway Patrol, they're behind it, but they're already thinking steps ahead. You were talking about maybe using a pit maneuver. They're not talking about that, but they're already talking about handing it off to the next group of California Highway Patrol officers. That's all the way out in the Newhall area. But we're continuing on now. Tahunga is the area where we're at. These high speeds, we'll see where this goes. Everybody knows 210 freeway kind of dead ends over there by the 5. Where he makes that turn, what happens in that area, that's yet to be seen. Maybe even gets off the freeway. Right now, though, this truck still moving along at a very good clip, very dangerous. On the freeway this evening, light traffic, thank goodness for that. California Highway Patrol keeping an eye on it, keeping that safe distance, but this chase definitely continuing. Copy. Hey, we're up on Freak 5 now. We're up on frequency 5, Hey, and if you guys are still with us on the web, you know, it's been a night. I'm glad we got a couple of these pursuits going on. At least we got something going positive happening for us this evening. Look, this guy, I don't want to say it like that on television, but this guy, big truck, you know, definitely going to be a V8, probably 5.3 liter in there. Those are the earlier Vortex, you know, and you know that thing is in good shape. When it was going up that hill, it was actually gaining speed. California Highway Patrol, they're right behind it. Why am I talking about that car's performance? Well, you know what? I can hear you, Lizzie. 2 minutes. Well, Sunland Tonga, yeah, but we're moving at 100 miles an hour down the 210. All right. Okay, so I'm switching back to KCal. All right, I'm switching back to KCal. Lizzie, I'm going to be on 6 for a little bit. I got to switch. Lakeview Terrace. Yes, I'm back with you guys. Okay. Copy. Lakeview Terrace, and we're going to be clicking past that pretty quick. You know, Silmar is coming up here just a moment. This Tahoe's really moving out, 100 plus on the freeway right now. I'm telling you, we spent just a moment or two trying to track it with the helicopter, but this vehicle over 100 miles an hour on the 210 trying to avoid being pulled over by the California Highway Patrol. Copy. Back on 5. Lizzie, I'm back with you. No problem. So, Internet peeps, if you guys are still listening, And, you know, the reason why I brought it up is a big vehicle. If this person is impaired and driving at these speeds, worried. I'm just worried. That's it. Straight out. Worried that something bad is going to copy. I just hope that guy isn't on Facebook down there watching us on Facebook Live. I mean, just letting you know. Lizzie, we're in Sylmar right now. We're safely in Sylmar. Oops, sorry. Does look like a bright light, maybe an iPad or an iPhone, something going on down there. So anyway, that's the reason why I'm worried. I'm concerned that this heavy vehicle, impaired driver. If you're not impaired, why are you running? Just pull over. This is. But at any rate, 210 is going to start running out of freeway here in just a little bit. We're going to be at the 5 freeway. And we're going to know also there's some sharp turns coming up. Now, I had one of these vehicles back when they were new. They were awesome, awesome, awesome truck. Probably still one of my favorite trucks I ever owned. What do you want? Do you want me to set it up now? God, this is westbound passing Hubbard. Oh, we should be into Oat now. Into Oat. Well, you know, Oat down by Whit. No. We're in Sylmar. $30. Okay. It will be the next one. Well, we'll see where he goes. Well, we're on the 210 freeway, just passing Roxford. You can see that vehicle just getting into those center lanes. He's been using all lanes this evening. This started all the way down in the Whittier area, 605 freeway, 210 freeway. When we got over, just getting over it, he actually got off the freeway for a moment there and then got back onto the freeway. So it's pretty unusual driving for sure. Don't know if this person's lost. Don't know really what's going on. We do know that there's 2 people inside the vehicle at least. We see a passenger every now and then when we're on the correct side of the vehicle, and then we also know that this was originally wanted as reckless driving. And we have seen some reckless driving this evening. If we haven't passed Yarnell, we're going to be passing Yarnell here in just a moment. This is going to be westbound on the 210 freeway. Little bit of traffic this evening. Very high speeds at some times, and then also we sometimes go down to more normal speeds. There you saw the sign, so we're coming up on the 5 freeway. Is he going to go north? Is he going to go south? It really doesn't make that much of a difference. California Highway Patrol is going to stay right behind him. There's one of the vehicles. You also see another CHP vehicle getting into the chase right there. There's a little swap out going on. Now that was going to be the Altadena portion of the California Highway Patrol, handing it off to the Newhall guys right now. So they're taking this thing over, but what the point is that right here on this transition, going to get very turned, you're going to do some turns. This is an older car. This is probably about a 15-year-old Tahoe. Don't know what kind of condition it is in, but at 100 miles an hour at any high speeds, a truck like that is going to be difficult to hold on to. Northbound 5 freeway, that's going to be the transition. We're going to be heading through the Newhall Pass. California Highway Patrol on the ground. Helicopter giving us the light. That's going to be the Sheriff's Department. You know, the stolen part, we don't know. With the original one is going to be reckless driving. What is it? Well, it's probably about a 2000, 2003-ish Tahoe. It's a Chevy Tahoe, that's pretty much for sure. They've been chasing it now for quite some time. That vehicle moving well into the triple digits of speed. At one point, we were tracking it at 102 miles an hour. We heard the helicopter saying moving at 100 miles an hour. Right now, though, going uphill again, you can see him passing all these vehicles here on the 5 freeway as we get into the Newhall Pass. Sometimes in this area, people drive just a little bit faster than the freeway speed. You just admit it. But you can see the reds and blues. They might be slowing down. We see brake lights on the other cars coming on. Now he's starting to get over to the right a little bit. That's not because he wants to get over. We know there's road construction going on here as well. But I'm going to get a little bit of a wider shot just real quick to show you the number of California Highway Patrol that are behind it. We've probably got about 4 or 5 of them, and this is continuing on now as we're getting up into the Valencia area. But this chase just keeps going and going. This guy starting to change some lanes a little bit radically. If he's going to get off here shortly because he's plugging the right side, well, now he's going back over to the left. I was going to say it's Calgrove. But you can see what the California Highway Patrol has to deal with right there. They're running their reds and blues. The people, the civilians on the roadway this evening, they're slowing down. They're moving over, as they should. But it might actually be blocking some of these officers as they're trying to get out of the way. Traffic is going to be slowing down that suspect. Hopefully he doesn't do anything too radical. You know, the construction, I think he's actually gone past that already. We saw those cones up there. You know, I know that they are doing work out here on the 5 northbound, but you can see him basically using all the lanes out here, cutting around those loops of traffic. California Highway Patrol, they've got the option. They're working both sides of this. But there's more and more cars out here, which is a little interesting. And if this person is impaired, this could create some issues. And also, you see those blinkers going on, like that car that they're just passing right there. They see the reds and blues, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to get over to the right side, and when that happens, there might be cutting off some of the officers. I got to work with my pilot this evening here up in Sky 2, and but we're continuing northbound. Going to be into the Valencia area here shortly, pretty well established. And they're, you know, right now it's going to be Newhall is the officers for the officers from California Highway Patrol. This is going to be the Newhall division, but they're going to stay behind on it, and the helicopter is going to stay above it. Well, you know, the size of the car right now, obviously everything is coming into play, and there's so much coming into play. What's the original want, where they can do this, what devices, what intervention can they do to bring this thing to a stop. The spike strips, he's moving pretty fast. That's not the problem. The problem is how are you going to get ahead of them? Yes, they have radios. Yes, they could do something, but we've seen how the spike strips work. And the freeway, that's going to be about 6 lanes probably, especially out here on the 5. So it's throwing out that spike strip. There's a really good chance that he's going to be able to avoid that. Also, you don't want to have those spike strips hitting other civilian vehicles or officers. So maybe not. The pit maneuver, not at these speeds, not a chance. But if he gets off on the side streets, yeah, of course, that's definitely something that they might use. But again, we just watch what's going on out there. Those officers, they're working. And right now, we're keeping an eye on this, and we're kind of letting people know, hey, look, this chase is going on. Northbound 5 freeway, really high speeds. If you got a loved one out there in the area, and if this gets off the freeway, and there's someone in the area where he gets off, you might want to give them heads up, especially if they have a loved one out on the road tonight. But look at this. California Highway Patrol, they have to keep up with this guy. So if he's doing 110, they're going to be doing about 110. He is really, really moving this evening, and that's an older truck. We've said it in the past. I mean, the good old Chevys, but he's been really putting his foot in it. So you got to kind of wonder, gas mileage, how good of a vehicle this is. And again, we're moving along, and if he continues this direction, we're going to get up into the grades. That truck might slow down, but I also know Sky 9, we're going to lose our visual point, so we might have to back off. But no, I was just going to say we're actually discussing it. My pilot tonight, Tim, he's giving me the same information that we all already know. If he starts getting up into the grade, we're going to have to stop. The California Highway, the Sheriff's Department, their helicopter may stay with it. Of course, the ground units will follow along. Just because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not going to continue on. But you see what's going on right now. This guy is passing in the emergency lane on the shoulder in these high speeds, and then kind of wonder what's going on inside that truck. Especially if there's two people, there's got to be some kind of conversation where the guy in the passenger seat is saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing this, or really, where are we going with this? But right now, California Highway Patrol, they're going to stay with it. The 126, I know you're talking about, they have the California Highway Patrol out there. Reinforcements, they're going to keep the cars chasing it to a minimum. They're just going to use the vehicles that they need to keep this to keep the public safe and to stay with this vehicle that they're chasing this evening. So are we going to see like Keystone Cops with like 50 cop cars behind it? No, not a chance. But we're continuing on, still about 100 miles an hour on the 5 freeway. The 126. I'm looking out the window, so it's still up ahead a little bit, but Castaic, it's also coming up, and this vehicle just seems to be staying out here on the 5 right now, northbound. All right. No, they're definitely not slowing down. Actually, we're actually speeding up a little bit, trying to do another push to catch up to it. I'm listening in on the other conversations that are going on, and it's actually a California Highway Patrol helicopter, a CHP helicopter over it right now. I don't know if they did a swap out earlier on, but I know the Sheriff's Department was over it earlier. They're basically saying the same thing. It's a part of flying that when you don't have any reference points anymore, meaning the pilot looks out the window and it's all dark outside, and you don't know where the horizon is, that's when it becomes extremely dangerous to fly. The helicopter, the California Highway Patrol helicopter that's lighting them up, he's also going to turn around. But those ground units, no, they're not gonna. They don't have to worry about that. That vehicle is planted pretty safely on the ground, and they don't have to worry about any ground reference. So they're going to keep with this truck going up this hill. If he keeps pushing it like that, we'll see what happens. And if he does conk out and we still see it, we'll be able to stay with it. But for right now, this is almost the area where we're going to start saying we're slowing it down. We're going to keep with it with the camera. The camera's going to be able to follow it for a little bit. But as far as the Sky 2, sadly, this is pretty much where we're going to start slowing it up, and we're going to park here, and it's just going to be the camera from here on out. Well, it's basically a safety issue with the pilots. If you ever walked into a dark room and you're standing and you don't have any reference points and you get a little off, it's pretty much the same thing in the helicopter. In the daytime, you can see the horizon, you can see this, you know what is up and what is right and what is left. But if you're in the darkness, and it's very, very dark up here on the hillsides, there is no reference. And the Sky 9. It gets a little more Sky 2. It gets a little bit more complicated with instruments. Of course we have them, but we're not rated to fly like that. So basically, right now we're just going to keep with it, stay safe. The helicopter from the California Highway Patrol has turned around already. They're just using their lights and keeping an eye on it, but we're going to stay with it with the camera. And if we see it pull over, we'll report that. But other than that, it's basically we're going to be watching it go climb up the hillside up up here out towards Lake Pyramid. We're passing Castaic right now, or the chase is, and you can see it actually slowing down a little bit. You got even the way he's passing the other cars, so maybe that truck is going to run out of steam here in a little bit. Copy. I don't have a shot. Okay. There you go. And we're on the net, I'm sure, still as well, and we're going to keep an eye on it. You know, if we're on the net, and this is just for you guys right now, I won't lose it, I promise. But you can see he is slowing down. You know, I'm a huge Chevy lover, so. But take a look. That is the darkness, and of course you're going to say, oh, you're going to see the freeway. That doesn't help you out. You need to see a horizon out there, and that is what it looks like out towards up towards the Castaic area. That's the reason why we cannot fly that distance right now. But you can clearly make out the chase going up the hillside right there, and it's still moving along. You know, that older Chevy, 5.3 liter probably Vortec motor. I'm sure it's going to go well up that hill. I was thinking maybe it might overheat or something might go wrong, but apparently this thing is just going to keep on going. California Highway Patrol, they're going to stay behind it. That's still probably the Newhall division of the Highway Patrol using his blinker there. That's the first time I saw that. But frustrating? Of course it is. You know, we wanted to see this thing end as well. We'll keep an eye on it as long as we can. We'll also keep an ear on it. There's a possibility you might turn around and come back down. But I can still see it. We're going to stay here till we can't see it anymore, Tim. Okay. And so anyways, I'm just going to keep watching it. Pretty soon these lights will start fading out, and then it'll just be the radio. But I always love the love on the internet. Sorry we weren't able to get with you guys today. Sorry it sounded a little frustrating earlier on. It's been a long day up here in the helicopter, but you know what? The worst day up here is probably the best day anyplace else. So anyways, we're going to keep on watching it, and it seems like it's going to keep just winding around. Those are hillsides that we can't see it when it goes behind. No problem, Tim. Simon Test, just checking in. All right, copy all. Back to base. And that is the end of that, and we'll be heading back to base, and my pilot was working it. Timmy was getting a little exhausted up there, getting a little worried about his points of reference and etc., like we were trying to explain to you. Again, I'm telling you, if you're listening on the net and you've got something negative to say or you're thinking something, I am telling you, until you are in his seat, you don't know. You just don't know. And I obviously wasn't in a helicopter, but in a plane, I've been in that situation. I know how quickly it happens and how scary it can be. So at any rate, thank you guys for listening, and I wish I had something more for you. And you know I love the love.